And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Darnock with TGN, bringing you game number 2 of this Best of 7 series. Looks like TLO's music wasn't working. I see Taylor Swift there. Grubby, you do not have good music taste. Don't know what was going on there. That was, of course, a pause that happened. But because we are casting from the replays, it's not going to matter. Looks like our two players here are discussing the merits of Taylor Swift. I'm sure my girlfriend's going to be very happy about that. But let's pay attention to the StarCraft here. Looks like the map is going to be Shattered Temple. Spawning in the west, we do have the red Terran player, Liquid TLO, the loser of the final game, which is too bad. I'm going to admit I am a little biased. I am a big TLO fanboy. So, man, they are distracting. So I am going to be rooting for him, but you know what? Grubby is really good as well. I would love to see him succeed just because he's definitely does have the power to be good at this game. He has actually played it for a little bit less time than I think most StarCraft 2 pros have. I think he was a little bit late to the train, so he does have that disadvantage as well. But if he practices hard, if he just plays well, keeps going to tournaments, I am sure we will start seeing some results from him in the near future. In fact, we're already starting to see some results from him now because he won that first game. So that is pretty fantastic. I'm going to go cough now. Still have not quite got rid of that cough, which is greatly annoying to me. But you know what? What are you going to do? My immune system is just apparently taking the week off. So I'm going to have some words with it when it does get back. But until then, I'm just going to keep coughing and casting StarCraft because that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I do. I do very much like the TVP matchup. It is one of my favorites. It's pretty fun to watch the dynamics between the two races. In general, the Terran player isn't too terribly creative. A lot of times it is just Marine, Marauder, Medevac, but there are lots of subtle ways you can change that, the different ways you can play the Marine, Marauder, Medevac. You can do very, very heavy on the expansions. You can get heavy upgrades, all that good stuff. Sometimes we see ghosts mixed in for nukes, which is absolutely awesome. And then there's obviously the fun micro wars between the casters, between the ghosts trying to EMP the High Templars, and the High Templars trying to feed back the ghosts. Grubby trying to juke around with this probe in the main base of TLO, but TLO too good for that. Going to take his Marine over there and shoot it down. And look at this very fast expansion from TLO. Gasless 1-racks expand. Very, very quick indeed. Relatively safe as well, as long as you make sure to build a bunker relatively soon. You're not going to be in a whole lot of trouble, even though you do have pure Marines, which don't do so good against Protoss units. As long as you have that bunker, even, you are going to be okay. In the meantime, Grubby continuing to just do that standard Protoss opening. And we're going to have to wait a few more minutes to see exactly what kind of build is he actually doing. Now, he is going to be... he is going to be chrono boosting. I had a brain fart there for a second. That cybernetic score does not have a whole lot saved up or anything like that. So again, he is going to be going for that very tech-heavy opening, throwing down that robotics facility. Then we should see a second gateway just as a little bit of insurance up quite soon after that, just in case TLO does decide to do any early aggression, which it looks like he might be planning on, because, of course, he does have this command center coming up. He is adding on 2 more barracks, though, adding on both of his gases as well, and TLO could be considering to set up for a very strong 2-base timing attack. Command center is going to finish, going to start transforming into an orbital command, and it's going to be very interesting to see what add-ons, if any, TLO does decide to put on these barracks. And right now, it looks like he's just going to keep those barracks naked, have them produce Marines one at a time. Stalker is going to scout forward here. This is actually a little bit bad for TLO, as his bunker is not up yet, so this Stalker is going to have a very, very easy time microing against these Marines. Now, there we go. Some health damage is being dealt to that Stalker. It is now in the yellow. But just look at all these Marines, 2 in the yellow, 1 in the orange. And Grubby didn't really have to take too much damage in return. TLO adding on a second bunker, actually, really not happy with this early pressure from Grubby. Now, it doesn't matter too much, as Grubby's obviously not following it up with anything. He only has 2 sentries left. But TLO doesn't know that, and he wants to keep all of his bases covered, just in case Grubby does decide to go for some more pressure, in case he's doing a 3-gate pressure build, 4-gate, or anything like that. Both bunkers are up now, so that is going to mark that Stalker's harassment days are coming to an end. as I can't really micro around bunkers very well, as they do provide that +1 range upgrade. In the meantime, very interesting from TLO, adding on 2 barracks, researching STEM, and actually producing a Reaper out of one of those barracks, which is very, very cool. Normally, if we do see Reapers, we see them at the very beginning of the game. A barracks goes down, a tech lab goes down, and then the very first combat unit the Terran player does build is the Reaper, but TLO delaying it just a little bit, and uh-oh, it's going to run right by those sentries. Grubby, why are you using a move command, you silly goose? And it's going to go straight up into the main base of the Protoss player, and it looks like it's going to see absolutely everything. Oh no, Grubby, he really does not want that. TLO sees all of the production facilities of Grubby. He sees the Nexus. He's even starting to kill some probes. 2 probes are already dead, and that Reaper is going to be microing around those. And man, TLO must be grinning ear to ear right now, as he is just so happy. That was very, very lucky for TLO indeed. Stim is about halfway done for him. He's researching his +1 attack upgrades. Where is that engineering bay? There it is, +1 in infantry weapons right there. He has transferred to this natural expansion. It is nice and not quite saturated, but it is being mined, which is obviously a good thing. And it looks like TLO is going to be doing a very, very similar build to that last game, adding on 3 more tech labs once again and producing pure Marauders, just like the last time. That cough, I swear. I just want to punch it in the face if it were an actual human being. Regardless, Grubby has his own natural up as well, producing those Colossi very, very early once again, as he does have that robotics bay. Now, since he did get it so early, it is going to take him a little while to actually get enough money to research that extended thermal lance. As you can see, it only now just has started, but it's not going to be super duper late or anything like that. The one issue with this build, and it's not really an issue, it's just something you have to be careful of, is since you do go for those Colossi so very early, you do have to be careful about any early pressure, because you see we're almost 10 minutes into the game, and all Grubby has are these 2 gateways and 1 robotics facility. So if TLO decides to put on some heavy aggression, which it looks like he could be setting up for, Grubby might be in some trouble if he does not land very, very good force fields, and just in general keep trying to avoid the engagement rather than actually just have at it and try to win it. TLO has teched up to that starport, actually already has 2 starports up, which is a pretty smart response to this style, because obviously Grubby wants to get those Colossi up as quickly as possible so he can have as many as possible, and if TLO is able to get a strong early Viking count and just crush that immediately, he will be in very, very good shape going into the mid-game. Grubby pushing out once again. Just going to poke at the front of our Terran player's base. Trying to stay out of the range of those bunkers, maybe pew-pew them a little bit with his Colossi. Doesn't really want to go for any super aggressiveness or anything like that, because he does not quite have the gateway unit base to be able to hold that. TLO just building a random refinery over here, no big deal, don't sweat it. And then now we do see that Grubby is getting into position. There we go, he is trying to poke away at that bunker. TLO wants to try and get those Vikings in there. Good screening, though, by Grubby, zoning those Vikings out with his Stalkers. And TLO in a frustrating position right now. He can't really do a whole lot. All he can really hope to do is keep these SCVs over here, try to keep them from getting killed by the Colossi, and repair those bunkers. And good play by TLO, forcing those Colossi to back out. Going to push forward with some Marines and Marauders. Good force fields, though, by Grubby. Going to trap a lot of those Marauders over there. This one apparently can survive getting stabbed in the face 15 times. And he is going to charge forward with a vengeance. There is a proxy pylon up here, reinforcing with more Stalkers to try and kill those Vikings. Those Vikings already doing quite a bit of damage, though. TLO charging forward with those Marauders, target firing the Colossi. 2 Colossi do go down. The 3rd one goes down as well, but all these units are going to be killed. And can Grubby go for a counterattack? He very well could, as all TLO has is this 1 Marauder right now, which obviously cannot beat this gateway composition over here. However, Grubby does not quite know that. His observer was killed. Going to be playing it safe, and he is just going to back out for the time being. At the same time, TLO catching a break. He's going to be taking his 3rd. Oh no, misclicked Mule, just going to be sitting there. And he's actually going to survive. Grubby could have killed him right then and there, to be totally honest. But TLO now, even though he was at a great disadvantage, actually going to start pulling ahead, assuming this attack doesn't come too early, which it looks like it very well may, because he does have that 3rd base up. Grubby looking very, very likely to end the game right here. We take a look at the army supply. It's actually very, very equal. primarily just because there are a bunch of Vikings over here, I suppose. Doesn't really have a very large ground army. Another proxy pylon being warped into the north over here. One Marine going to valiantly try and kill that. It's doing a pretty good job. It might take a while, but you know what? He has the time. He has the patience. Ghost Academy up for TLO, which is a very, very important thing to get indeed. Researching a lot of upgrades, combat shields, +2 armor, +3 infantry weapons, and that's where all TLO's money was going. I was wondering, it is going to that tech, as his units are already at 2-1, whereas Grubby is at completely no upgrades, just about to finish his +1 attack, whereas TLO working on his 3-2, which is very, very impressive. But again, that is making him a little bit weak right now to any pushes. However, it looks like Grubby has been waiting too long. TLO is producing a good amount of Marauders right now. He has a nice little cadre of Vikings right there that are going to be able to pew-pew away at those Colossi. And TLO actually not in the worst position right now. This is going to be a rather scary push coming in from Grubby, though. If TLO is able to hold this, he's going to be in great shape. But will he actually be able to do that? That's the question we're going to have to see right now. While this whole poking thing is going on, there are some zealots up here at the north. We're not going to pay too much attention to that because this is much more important to the grand scheme of things, and it looks like Grubby is going to be forced to back off at least just a little bit, and TLO feeling pretty good right now. Grubby has finally taken his third base over here, so they are going to be on equal basis. However, TLO does have 64 SCVs to the 61 probes of his opponent, and keep in mind he does have those 3 orbital commands, and mules are pretty good, I hear. Pretty good unit. Grubby continuing to be annoying with these zealots, warping them up onto the high ground. Looks like he was able to kill a few SCVs right there. Not able to quite take down that missile turret, which did actually get a kill. I'm assuming that was on an observer. But Grubby still does have this pylon up at the north, which is very, very handy for him indeed. He does have some Dark Templars warping in. They are going to be detected by this missile turret and killed. And at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, there is a nuke on the way from this Ghost Academy. Oh man, another reason I love TVP is nukes are actually pretty viable in TVP. Very, very good things to get indeed, because you know what, you're going to be making the ghosts anyway. You're going to be using them for the EMP at the very least, so you might as well give them a nuke as well. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. How much is it actually? It's only 100. It's not the most expensive thing in the world, and you know what? Sometimes you can just use it as a pretend force field. You can zone areas of the map off from the Protoss army, and you can also just send them to mineral lines and see if you can kill a bajillion SCVs, which is always a viable strategy. Now, while all this has been going on, Grubby has been switching over to the High Templar play. As you can see right here, he does have some warped in already. He's researching Psystorm, researching Charge as well, and he's about to finish his +2 ground weapons upgrade. Meanwhile, TLO on 3-2, and his +3 armor is about halfway done. So TLO, he is king of the world right now as far as upgrades go, and he is now ready to start getting on the aggression path over here. There is a Dark Templar sort of dancing around his main army, desperately wants to kill that specific Marine, and oh no, he might be able to kill the Ghost. It's going after the Ghost. Scan going to go down, and TLO saves both of his Ghosts. Very, very important things to keep alive, keep them generating energy, and prepare them to cast those EMPs. Now Grubby, he does see that push is coming. He's trying to get himself a little bit better positioned, wants to engage in this area. There's the nuke going down from TLO. He is, again, going to be using that as a force field. He doesn't want to get his own units caught in it, though. That wouldn't go well. And TLO, you're making me nervous, man. Okay, he does start moving those units away. Not the most interesting nuke, actually. It does kill a Dark Templar or something over there, though. So there's always that. TLO looks like he might get himself cornered over here. Charge Lot's completely zoning him in. And there we go. Huge pickup from TLO. Going to drop over to the third base, but that's not actually going to be that much of an accomplishment because the rocks are up. He does see that and decides to fly away. And TLO on the retreat right now. At the same time, though, he did have a great drop over here into the main base of Grubby. Apologies that I missed that. Looks like it has been doing a lot of damage over here. At the same time, TLO dropping over here. Going to be trying to kill some of these gateways. Going to have to lift up. Going to run away. Big storms going down, though. Feedbacks as well. Those medevacs are very, very weak. Colossi does get focused down. Action all over the place here, ladies and gentlemen. The Nexus does get focused down in the main. Those Marauders not getting micro, just working away on those assimilators now. And it looks like the main force of TLO is finally going to be cleaned up by this Dark Templar and the rest of Grubby's army. But man, Grubby is in a lot of trouble right now. If he does not end the game very, very quickly, he is not going to be in a very good position for the long game, as his main base completely in tatters. Many unpowered warp gates, no Nexus, no gases, lot of dead probes. I want to take a look at the unit count. Looks like he was able to save a good amount of them, but he is still down by about 10 workers, which is obviously never a good thing. The only thing he has on TLO right now is he does have the gold base, whereas TLO does not have his quite yet. Looks like he is going to be taking a 4th base, but over in the north rather than the gold, which could ultimately end up being a mistake, as that gold base is so very good. TLO, bring your Vikings away, TLO. TLO apparently doesn't want his Vikings anymore. He says, whatever, they're just dead supply. And Grubby also realizes that and says, you know what, I'm going to leave that up. So now your max supply is 198. So there. Another big drop into the main base of Grubby. Looks like it didn't do quite that much damage, as he has been doing warp-ins. So TLO has been forced to deal with those. It is going to get cleaned up rather easily. TLO not going to lift up, though. Going to lose this entire drop, which was a lot of supplies. So that's obviously not the best thing in the world. This game's still very, very close. Very, very exciting as well. In fact, so exciting that I need to cough again. Hopefully some water will help cleanse my palate. Okay, so I'm back. TLO moving off to the main part of the map over here in the center with that Zelnaga watchtower. Grubby pushing forward as well. Grubby's army very, very scary, but huge EMPs going off on that entire Protoss army over there, and that could very well make the difference. However, it is still so powerful with that +2 attack. The Zealots are all going to go down, though, to those highly upgraded Marauders, and now TLO is giving chase. It looked like Grubby's army was so much more powerful than TLO's, but between those EMPs and those upgrades, TLO was able to absolutely crush through all those Zealots. However, with more Zealots getting warped in from Grubby, he's going to be in pretty good shape. But again, those Marauders are so strong when they are fully upgraded. Keep in mind, Grubby has absolutely no armor upgrades, so +3 attack to +0 armor. His units are starting to melt away very quickly indeed. Going to be pushing out to the center of the map. Neither of these players can really do a whole lot of damage to each other at this very moment, as they're both pretty crippled as far as their armies go. You see, we're actually over 20 minutes in, and it's only 129 supply to 118. So both of these players have been fighting tooth and nail this entire game. Grubby looking pretty scary, though. He does have a bunch of High Templars out, 2 of them morphing into an Archon. These guys don't quite have Storms, though, which could be problematic as he's moving out. They aren't really going to be too useful, though. Zealots getting stuck behind the Stalkers. The Blink Stalkers are going to get out of the way. Very helpful of them, rather gentlemanly. But it is a little bit too late, as now TLO is able to kite a lot of the Zealots, kill quite a few, using that slow. Grubby switching into a very Archon-based unit composition over here. Archon's pretty resilient against EMPs. Yes, they do still do a lot of damage to them, but they have so much shields, they can eat quite a few. Big Storm did go down on these Terran units, though, so they are very yellow, very orange as well. However, 3 Ghosts did just join this fray. There is still a nuke ready for TLO, so keep that in mind. It looks like Grubby might be considering taking a 5th base over here, cleaning out the area at the very least. TLO has 2 dropships hanging out over here, completely unmanned. He probably has forgotten about them because both of these players are working at a mile a minute right now. If we take a look at the APM tab, yeah, we see TLO averaging 178 APM. That's about 3 actions per second, which is incredible when you think about that. He's been keeping that speed up for 25 minutes now. Absolutely insane. So fast. He has a bunch of Ghosts out right now, too. Wow, 8 Ghosts. That's actually so many EMPs. That is ridiculous. TLO did spot these medevacs. Yay! They're going to finally regroup with their other medevac friends over here with the main army. Nice preemptive EMP going down, hitting all of those High Templar, actually. Wow, Grubby in a lot of trouble right now. TLO, though, doesn't look like he wants to press the issue quite yet, as his supply is low-ish compared to Grubby's. Oops, some Stalkers getting over here to the high ground, or to the high ground, to the north of the map, which is kind of high on the 2D representation. Marines are going to be able to come over here and clean that up, though. TLO decides now is the time to push. He even has a Raven with this. Doesn't quite have enough for a point defense drone, but at least it's going to be able to detect any observers and DTs. Huge EMPs going down all over the Protoss army. Oh my goodness, EMPs all over the place. Feedback's going to be dealing some damage to the Ghosts, but not too many. And TLO looking in a very strong position right now. Going to be pushing forward to the natural base of Grubby. There we go. We do see a nuke. Not really going to do a whole lot, just going to sit on those gateways, make sure Grubby doesn't warp any units over here, because they are going to die very quickly. TLO going after that Nexus, and did the nuke get canceled? No, there's the Duke. Okay, taking down the shields on all of those gateways, dealing some damage to that Raven too, unfortunately. But the gold base for Grubby does go down. Another small group of units over here taking down this fifth base of Grubby. I'm good at counting, ladies and gentlemen. And Grubby at this point is looking pretty dead. 164 supply to 115. All those stalkers did get EMP'd. Good storm going down on a lot of these units, actually dealing quite a bit of damage because TLO didn't really micro around it very much. But Grubby just does not have quite enough to actually be able to finish those units up. Zealots coming in again. EMP is going down on them. Stutter set from TLO going to be dealing a lot of damage to those Zealots without taking too much in return. He really needs to kill this Colossus because it's actually dealing so much damage to his army. It does go down. TLO has so few units over here. But if we take a look at the middle of the map, we see a huge Congo line of Marines and Marauders coming over here to seal the deal. And as soon as those arrive, I do think we are going to see a GG from our German Protoss player, Grubby. Even 4 SCVs wanting to get in on the action. TLO figures, well, if he's pulling probes, I'll pull SCVs. And there is the GG from Grubby. So there it is. TLO going to be tying up this best-of-7 show match 1-1. We have a series on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. My phone is ringing, but I'm just going to ignore that because I'm going to go cast game number 3. So let's go check that out now.